Hello, hello. Hope everyone is having a good day or having a good day. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know if everything's fine. Can you hear me properly? And then we can jump in. We're doing like an access marathon today, I think would be the best description. I quickly scanned through these papers. I must be honest with you, my day was very crazy. So I'm going to need you guys to help me to check, because under pressure, one misses things. Okay, so please, if I missed something, show me and tell me in the comments immediately, please. I was thinking we can do like tables first, and then we carry on to forms. Then we do all three papers forms, and then we do all three papers queries. So that once I've done all three papers, the tables of all three papers, then we can check which questions are still remaining for tables, for access, for example. So just starting over there, if I actually, when you're working with access, I would really recommend that no matter how uncomfortable you are with access or how much it scares you, which I hope it doesn't, it's really an awesome program, and if you actually practice it enough, it's one of the easiest programs to do because they tend to ask the same stuff over and over and over again. Besides that, please always at least try the table question. Okay, please never leave the table question out. I can understand if the queries and stuff, you don't have the time to figure that out, but the minimum that you have to get done is the tables, is the table. It's usually one. I'm just quickly going to get a cloth for my glasses. Now that I'm sitting here, I can actually see that I can't see properly. Let me know in the comments so long. Are you there? Everything fine? I've seen a few likes, but no acknowledgements that anyone is actually here or that it works, that you can hear me. Is the sound all right? Did you guys get to practice it beforehand? Can I just get an indication? Did anyone practice it beforehand? Please let me know in the comments. Okay. All right. So I'm going to open November 2022, I think, the backup first. I've got it open here. They said we've got tour packages offered at the Victoria Falls. Audio is good, thank you. And let me know if you guys did the paper, please. Tour packages offered at the Victoria Falls and surrounding areas are stored in a database. All right, open the 5 activities database. So I've got this one over here. Now they said, let me just activate my highlighter. All right. Open the table 5.1 table in design view and edit it as follows. Right. If it's possible to open it in datasheet view, then do and quickly just have a look. All right. There's an ID of some sort, like some kind of code, an agency name, tourist area, registration number, and a star review. Okay. Fantastic. I'm glad you guys are here. Awesome. All right. So now we switch to design view. And let's see. So I want to see what's the first thing they ask. All right, 5.1.1. Set the ID field as primary key. All right, so this time they clearly said which one to use. It's ID. So you can either right click and choose primary key, or you can click primary key at the top here. Just ensure that you're actually on the right field at this point. 5.1.2. Set an appropriate field size for the agency name field using the given description. Right, so agency name, we click on that. So we're going to put field size here, but let's first read what does the description say. The description says the name must not be more than 30 characters. So then the field size needs to be 30. All right. Next up, do you see why I'm saying try the table at least, especially the first few questions are usually like crazy easy. Right, 5.1.3. Add the option Victoria Falls to the existing drop-down list of the tourist area field in the correct alphabetical order. Ooh, all right. So let's go see what's happening at the moment. So tourist area, they're saying there's an existing drop-down field. So I can just go check that here by datasheet view. It always gives this error that tells you you have now changed something to a shorter size and you may lose data because of that. You have to say continue. Okay. Side note, if something like this, if you do this in a paper and you actually do lose data that you need again, you can ask your teacher or the invigilator to give you, to help you to restore, basically like they can import just the table for you into your Access file if it's necessary. Okay, we want to continue anyway, we have no choice. That's why usually the one where we're doing all the editing in a table, they usually don't base any queries or reports or stuff on it, so that if something does get damaged in the process, then there's no consequences further on. Okay, so at the moment, I've got a drop-down list here, do you see? And they want us to add Victoria Falls to this drop-down option so that if I'm using a next, if I'm adding a new record, then that's one of the options to choose. Right, Victoria Falls is actually right here to copy. That's nice and easy. It is Victoria Falls, right? Okay, so let's go to Design View. It's Tourist Area that we're editing. I go to the Lookup tab. I'll answer you now with a question. And you'll see the field properties show me here that it's a list box. It's a value list, which means I have supplied the values. The values are actually typed out as a list of values. And now I need to add here by row source. I can actually type it in the right position. MT, it should probably be here, hey? STV, no, V is after T, right? So before White River. And you'll see, I can see that all the rest are separated by semicolons. So then I'm going to pop Victoria Falls there in the middle of them. And I'm actually also going to put a semicolon in there. Okay. So just go click in the middle. I could probably have right-clicked and chosen paste as well. I'm just used to my shortcuts of Control X, looks like a scissor, for cut, C for copy, Control V for paste. The three of them are next to each other. All right, so how long will such an import take if you accidentally lose data? If your teacher has done it before, it should take like 5 minutes maximum. Yeah, so you can weigh that up then if it's worth it for you or not. Okay, about 5 minutes. And your teacher should have been able to do it. If they teach grade 12, then I'm sure they've done it before. Right. Let's continue. Set, where am I? Here am I. Okay, in the correct alphabetical order. Happy days. 514. An incorrect input mask appears on the reg number field or registration number field, I'm assuming. Okay. Correct the input mask to accept data in the following format. Okay, let's just go see what we've got. Reg number. Now I've got to switch back here at the bottom with field properties. I've got to switch back to the General tab. And there's my input mask. Let's zoom so that we can see clearly what we're typing. Right, so they're saying this is incorrect. It's usually partially correct, and I just need to use what they've given me and fix it. Sometimes it's easier just to redo it, but you'll see some of the characters will be the same. All right, correct the input mask in the following format. A capital letter. Okay, so that was correct. Because if we check here, greater than is the sign for capitals. Okay. L, a capital L, is the code for required letters. Right, and they said a capital letter. They didn't say required or not required, but if it's not mentioned whether it's required or not required, then you can kind of assume that that has to be entered, so then it has to be required. Right, a capital letter. So this part I'm happy with. That's definitely the first part of the first bullet. That matches the first one. Followed by an optional digit or space where digits can be displayed with a plus or a minus sign. Let's go check here. Input mask. See here, the digits at the top, it says plus and minus signs not allowed, but the hashtag does allow plus and minus signs. Okay, so I think it's a hashtag, and it's just one, hey? They said an optional digit or space. So then I'm going to put in a hashtag, all right? And then they said at least one, but not more than 2 digits. So 1, maximum 2 digits, numbers, hey? So if it will be at least 1, then it means 1 digit is required. But possibly 2 means the second digit is optional, 9. Okay, so then it'll be, let's just put that 09. Okay, and that's it. So I'm going to delete that C. That was obviously wrong, but the greater than and the L was correct. Okay, so they give us a few options here or examples. If you have time, you can go and test that, but I'm not going to go test it. I'm going to say, okay. What I'm going to do, because I haven't had a chance to actually prep this properly, apologies, I'm going to go through the memo after each question, like 5.1 of this paper. I'll quickly just have a look at the memo and show you guys, and we can check whether we did everything right or if I missed something. Okay. 5.1.5, last question for this table question is insert a new calculated field called recommend. Okay. To display yes if the star review is greater than or equal to 3. Whew. Okay, otherwise no should display. All right, so has to be a calculated field. The type, when I'm done with the calculated field, will have to be a yes-no data type, all right? And then I'm going to have to put a calculation in to actually give a true or a false output, all right? Now, I'm not sure if you know, but in Excel and in Access, a yes-no, like a question, a true or false output can be given by using an if function, or you can just actually do a comparison. You can say, is this greater than that, or is this equal to that? And the output or the result of that will be true or false. And if it's true, it will equal yes. If it's false, it'll equal no. All right. So if I had no idea how to do this, I would at least put in a new field called recommend, and I would choose the data type yes, no. And that would possibly award me 2 marks. Okay, but let's see how to do this calculation. So, new field called recommend, data type, change to calculated. Now, warning, if you first chose yes, no, or number, or whatever, and then after that you change it to calculated, you'll sometimes see that the field doesn't work even if your calculation is correct. So if you fiddled around with data types and you didn't immediately switch to calculated, delete the field. So let's say I messed this up. I did this, okay? And now I realize it must be calculated. If I do that, it's not even a good idea to try this, because the odds are it's not going to work even if I type in something that does work. So then just delete the field. You see where I'm clicking on the field, right click and choose delete rows and just redo it. Recommend calculated. Okay, or I can go choose it here. So a calculated field is very buggy. It's really a part of the Access program that has a lot of bugs. If you just click away too much or you change things too much, then it stops working. Right, so then it's just best to delete the field and start over. So, calculated. The moment I change something to a calculated type, this expression builder pops up. All right. So, they said something about the star review must be greater or equal to 3. Then it's a yes. Star review is greater or equal to 3. So, let's try something. Star review must be greater than or equal to 3. Okay. Now let's go see data sheet view, save the table. Okay, not going to work. Because check here, star review is actually not numbers. It's actually literally little characters. Okay. So I'm assuming if it's 2 stars, they'll just be like 2 stars. And if it's 1 star, they will just be 1 star. So the only function I can think of that can count how many characters there are is len, okay? A len function that we use from Excel. All right, so let's go back, design view, and we're going to go into expression. Now to continue editing this, you can right-click zoom, or if you want to open that fancy little expression builder, you can click on your 3 dots here on the side and open it up. Now, I want the length of the star review, right? I want to see how many characters long is the contents of that field. And then I want to compare it whether it's greater than or equal to 3. So the len will have to be applied to this first part. Okay. So len, okay. Thank goodness it is a compatible function. Side note or pause, in Access, not all the functions from Excel are actually compatible. So if you start typing it and it doesn't show this little fx and it recognizes the name of the function, then it means it doesn't have that function in Access. So please just keep that in note. And now it says it returns a long, which I'm not sure, I think it's maybe like a long number or something, containing the number of characters in a string or the number of bytes required to store a variable. All right, that sounds very fancy and complicated. Let's just double click len and see what happens. Double click, it's opened my first bracket, because remember, in Excel and in Access, any function I use needs its own round brackets. So len, the open bracket starts over there, and then my end open bracket will be after star review. Okay, so there it is. Okay, I'm going to say okay. I'm just going to zoom in as well so that you guys can clearly see it, hopefully. How many of you are watching on a phone? Just so I know, like, if I should rather zoom a bit more. Tell me. Okay, if you can't see clearly, because I know in Access the stuff are quite small. And nobody said whether you actually tried these questions beforehand or not. So I'm assuming you didn't, and that's why you haven't said. You should try it first, actually. Okay. So is the length, that's the function, the text function, of the star review greater than or equal to 3? Now, the result type should not be integer. Integer is like a number, a whole number. The result type should be a yes/no answer. Do you see there's a yes/no option over there? So, yes, no, and let's go see. All right, at the moment it's just giving me a -1, which means yes. So the format I also need to set then to yes/no. There you go. Otherwise it just shows the number. There you go. It's recommended. Yes. And let's see if I put in 2 stars. Recommended, no. Right, remember if I test something, all right, I'll try to zoom in a bit more, okay? Seeing that when I see you're using a phone. All right, so you see the little, now that I've put in 2 stars, it says no. And now that I've tested it, oh, it is good on a phone. Oh, all right. Okay. Now that I've sorted that and I've tested it, I need to undo enough to go back to my design view. So I need to undo until this little pencil is gone. Right. Undo till my pencil is gone, and then I can switch back to design view. All right. Okay, so you guys are saying the visual is all right. Please zoom. Okay, I will try to zoom a bit. Okay, so I'm actually going to use my magnifier then, so you can see properly. Woo, okay, no, that's not what I want. I want my magnifier, just give me a second, to only be, no, not full screen, docked, no, lens, that's what I want, yes, so that I can move around and actually show something larger as I need it. Okay, so then, do you see, then I can do that. I can maybe try to make, I don't know if I can make this bigger now. Yeah, let me quickly make it bigger. Just give me a second, I'm sure I can figure it out. Go to settings, lens size. There you go. Let's make it a bit bigger, like 50. All right, fantastic. So you'll see here, I'm on recommended, calculated, and at the bottom here by field properties, I've changed on the general side. I'll tell you now. I've got an expression, is the length, len, is the text function of star review greater than or equal to 3. Right, result type yes, no, format yes, no. And I chose that from the drop downs. Okay, so how much Excel work is carried over to Access? Quite a bit in terms of the like just in normal, like just normally formulas, if you're doing the calculations, like your divide and plus and minus, and I would say per paper, there's usually possibly a maximum of one of the Excel functions that they kind of import into an Excel access question. Okay, so don't worry too much about it. All right, let's go check if I did this correctly by checking the memo. I just want to open that. I have so many windows open at the moment. That is the one, yes, November 2022 backup. Okay, so the memo, there we have it, said, I'm just going to zoom in there. I've set the ID field as a primary key. Yes, the agency name is a field size of 30. Victoria Falls was added to the combo box, alphabetical order between Tigerfish and White Rafting. Oh, it's actually allowing a hashtag instead of the 9 at the end. Yeah, I suppose, since that's also an optional number, but that's the general thing. And you had to leave the greater than L there. If you took the greater than L there out, they would have subtracted the first mark. All right, and there we have the final calculated field, recommended, len star review greater than or equal to 3. That's the expression, and the format is yes, no. You could also have used an if, and here, just for interest's sake, an if in Excel is, in Excel it's if, in Access it's if. Do you see there? If. Trying to do this double click thing, there you go. Then it like zooms in a bit, but it actually also makes it faded, so I don't know if that works. All right. Anyway, so we did that correctly. Let's do the next table, and then when I'm done with all the tables, then we can see if we've got any questions left. All right, I'm going to zoom here again so that we can save and close. Always a good idea to save and close immediately. All right. I have tried, but I don't understand why you use len function. Okay, let me show you. So in Excel, sorry, that's a thing with our times for the bells. Right, let me quickly show you in Excel why I use len. So let me say I've got the name of today, like a day's name typed. The len function returns the number of characters in a text string. So if I count the number of characters in Monday, it gives me the answer 6. Do you see? So if I have star, 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 and I actually can just copy it down. Copy down. Do you see it gives me 3? Okay. So if I had 2 stars and 1 star and 4 stars, and I copied this down, it gives me the right answer there. Do you see? So that's why I use the len function, because it actually counts the number of characters. It doesn't actually test whether it's a star. You're right. But we're assuming that because it says star rating that people would only type in a star, like a single character and nothing else. Okay, next question. Let's try June 2022. Right. The details database. A travel agent keeps details regarding its tour guides, clients, and tours in a database. Open the 5 details database containing information about the tour guides. Let's go open that. 5 details. All right. Now they say, open the table 5.1 table in design view. We always do that. Which access functions do they usually import from Excel? As we go along, I'll give you a few. Okay, but it's basically like the main ones. The sum, count, max, min, that kind of stuff are only used in queries, and it's aggregate functions that's actually built in. I'll show you that later, don't worry about that. But it's very often text functions, and there are sometimes date functions that they use. Okay, well, we have another question like that coming up when we do queries. So I did see that at least. All right, so first question, change the field size for the name field to 20. So table 5.1, let's just open it quickly and see. It just says surname, name, ID number, contact, start date, access code, and position. All right. So they said change the field size for name, for the name field to 20. So we're going to go click in name, and then we're going to go down here by general and change the field size to 20. Okay, that's it. We don't have to test it. Next up, they say insert an appropriate validation rule for the start date field that matches the validation text. Insert an appropriate validation rule for the start date field that matches the validation text. So, let's see. Start date, if we click on it, we can now, here by field properties at the bottom, we can see there's validation rule and text. Now it says, the company opened on the 15th of March, 2012. So, maatskappy het 15 Maart 2012 opgemaak. So, start date can obviously, if the company opened on the 15th of March 2012, then that could be, that's like the first possible start date. So then the validation rule would have to be greater than or equal to 2012 03 for March 15. Greater than or equal to, because you could possibly have started on the first day that the company opened, right? March is the third month, 15th of March. All right, and there's no end date for now. Okay, you see the moment I pressed enter or pressed tabbed or tabbed away, then it actually put the hashtags in automatically. That way I know that it actually picked it up as a date. It worked correctly. All right, the age of a person using birth date in a database. We have one like that coming up. All right, I'm going to show you that in a bit level. All right, so that's the validation rule, and it was only 2 marks, so I'm not going to think maybe they want me to put in an end date or something like that. So it must be 2 marks, so it's just that. Right, next one, 513, create an input mask again for the access code in the following format. Let's just go to access code. Can I just get an indication? Is everyone okay with this magnification, or is it confusing anyone? I know sometimes if I used it in class, it's confusing, but if it helps more than it harms, then I'm going to carry on with it. Okay, access code, there's no input mask at the moment, but let's see what we need to put in. They said it needs to be 2 compulsory letters. They didn't say anything about a capital or lowercase in the introductory sentence. So just 2 compulsory letters. So that will be the L A to Z entry required. Okay? No. Yes, this one. 2 compulsory letters. So we're here. L by input mask. Next, they say the @ sign. Okay? So when we want to put something in literally, and it's just a single character, the easiest way is to actually put in a backslash and then the @ The alternative is using double quotation marks and then the @ and close the double quotation marks again. Both would be accepted. Then they say at least 3 but possibly 4 digits. Do you see how the wording is actually repeating again from the other paper? So if it's at least 3 digits, then it must be 3 compulsory digits, and the 4th one is optional. All right, so we're going to do the same thing here again. 3 compulsory digits, this one, entry required, and then 1 digital space, entry not required. So 3 of the zeros and 1 9. 0 0 0 9, because it's 3. It's a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 4 numbers. Let's just see. Yes, at least 3, but possibly 4 digits. Okay, that's it. Let's see how many marks. 4 marks. Let's see what we all did here. So the double L, the @ the 000, and the 9. 4 marks. Happy days. All good. Right, the if function in a database, I'm going to get to questions. I'm going to do, if you only joined now, Esmeralda, I'm going to do object at a time. I'm doing one object with all 3 example papers, and then I take questions based on tables, and then I'll do queries and forms, and we'll see how far we get. I think this might carry on until 12 o'clock tonight. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see how long I can make it. Okay, the magnify help. Fantastic. All right. 514. Create a combo box for the position field with the following options: manager, administrator, and accountant. Okay, so position field. If I want to create a combo box, please don't do it manually here using lookup. Rather use the lookup wizard. So you go click here where it says data type short text, drop down, and you choose lookup wizard. Okay, now we've got the wizard opening up here, and it says it creates a lookup field for us. How do you want your lookup field to get its values? Do you want to get it from another table or a query? No, I will type in the values that I want, correct? And then we choose next. Now, I just want one column. I can't imagine why I would want two columns. So I'm just going to type the names or the things I want here underneath each other. So they said it's manager, administrator, accountant. Okay. Manager, arrow down, administrator, accountant. Yes. Okay. Now, just for interest's sake, they won't penalize for spelling errors here, but if they want to be strict, they could penalize for capitalization. Think of it this way: the capitalization shows skill, whereas the spelling doesn't have an impact on functionality. They only penalize for spelling when it has an impact on functionality. Okay, now we're going to say next. The label we want is the field name. We're going to keep it the same. They didn't mention anything about limiting it to the list or storing multiple values. Okay, so then we're just going to say finish. Now it doesn't look like anything changed here, but on the lookup tab, you'll see it automatically made it a combo box, a value list, because I supplied the values, and it put those three options in there. Okay, let's quickly see. Did I miss anything? Combo box, position, those three options. There you go. All right. Last question, I think. Yes, one more. Insert a new field called ID photo and set an appropriate data type for the field. So a new field, we're just going to type it here at the end, ID photo, and the data type we've got to choose. It's definitely not text, not long text, not number, not large number. Ooh, no. Date time, no. Okay, it can be, I don't know, it could probably be one of these three. Attachment, in my mind, is usually for a field where you'd attach more than one thing, but it can be if you don't want to store it inside the database. But OLE object is typically object linking element. That's typically what we use for multimedia files, so any pictures or audio or something like that. So I'm going to choose OLE object, and fantastic, it allowed me, and now I can just go and save. I right click on the object and I choose save. I find that's kind of the safest way that I know I'm actually saving this specific thing that I'm working on now. Shelton, I saw you had like a comment about something about double quotation marks here from the side of my eye, but I didn't read the whole thing. So the double quotation marks in this previous one was added automatically when I used the lookup wizard. So you don't actually get marks for that, or don't get marks for it, as long as it has the combo box value list and these three values. If you want to test it, we can go to design view, to data sheet view, sorry, and I will go test it here. Do you see where I'm clicking? And there I can see the three options. Right. Okay, save and close this. Let's see the last question that we're going to, let's quickly check this memo that I didn't miss anything. I'm just going to put this whole window on here. Okay, the field is set to 20, the validation rule, yes. My order was different. Did you see I started with 2012, then 0315? It all depends on the regional settings of your computer. So let me just quickly move my face out of the way, then I'll show you that. No. There you go. Sorry. This magnifier is making things a lot more difficult for me. So here on the bottom of your screen, with the, I'll tell you now, Shelton. Here at the bottom of your screen at your taskbar, right on the edge, you can see your date and time. Please use the format that your computer uses, whichever one you're working on. I can't remember which one is which one is the one that's supposed to be set for the exam, but they will have like a standard one set for the exam. It might be this way around. Philip, I'm really sorry, hey. There's too many people who said the magnification helps. I can see if I can maybe do something differently. The speed. No, that's something different. Let's quickly see if there's something I can change. No, the lens is really the best way. I'll make it smaller doesn't really help. I don't know why it's not larger this way. Oh, there's the way I can put it. Let me do that. Larger this way as well. That might make it less confusing. Okay. Now you just see like one big block. Okay. So validation rule, we've got that. The access code, we did that. Yes, that's exactly what we typed. And the field, the display control is a combo box, value list, and it has those 3 values in the row source. Okay, so Shelton, the reason why I don't want you to do the combo box manually, which one were we working on here? This was, the file was 5 details, this one. The reason why I don't want you to do it manually is because if you go here, let's just go to that field, position. If you go here, you've got to choose the right option from this drop down to make it text box, list box, or combo box. And you've got to remember which type to choose here by value list. You have to know which row source you have to know that you've got to put semicolons here and not just commas. And sometimes, like if you didn't know, you could have maybe messed something up if you typed all of these, but you can try it manually. It should work. They actually only mark these top 3 things. So as long as those are correct in this instance, it's fine. Okay, so it should be all right. All right, last table question. Oh, we're already at 10 past 5. I don't know how we're going to finish today. Let's see. November 2021 backup. All right, the rivers one. Some data of the longest rivers across the world was captured in a database. The database includes a table with data on rivers in South Africa. So this is the 5 rivers one. There you go. Okay. And they said, open 5.1 table in design view and edit it as follows. 5.1.1. Change the field size of the river name field to 5. Is it just me, or is this the 3rd time they're asking field size in 3 papers, right? Do you see why I'm saying do the table? Okay. Field size, 5. So rivers, table 5.1, design view. We can quickly just look at it, open. Okay, river name, Rivier, province, origin. Okay. Do you want to see my face or not? I can probably show you now. Then you can look at my funny expressions. Origin, tributary, outflow place, mouth long, mouthlet, has a dam, or length. Okay. So we go back to design view. And let's see. River name, they said, must be, was it river name? Now I can't remember anymore. It was the field size of the river name. Yes, to 5. Okay. So field size, river name, I'm clicking on the right field at the top here, and then I'm changing the field size at the bottom to 5. Okay, done. Next question. 5.1.2, change the data type of the province field to display the different provinces as options for the user to choose from using the table provinces table as the data source. Okay, so let's go and have a look. I've got a table here, table provinces. I'm just going to open it and check. Okay, it has province, capital, and largest city and population. Okay, Since province is the first field, it should be fine to just do it manually, Shelton, but I always prefer doing it the proper way, but let's do both. Both will be accepted in this instance. They said province, right? Change the data type of the province field to display the different who. Okay. So because they phrased it that we need to change the data type of the province field to display what, then that kind of indicates to me that I have to use the lookup wizard, because the lookup wizard is the one that you get from the data type menu, right? If I just go to lookup and I fix all of that myself, then I didn't actually use that drop down and I didn't access the data type menu. That's basically what I mean. So let's do it the way they asked for it. Province, data type, lookup wizard. Okay, how do I want my lookup field to get its values? I wanted to get it from another table, yes. Next, which table? Table provinces. Next. Right, which fields contain the values that I want for my lookup field? Only province. Next. Next. Then I can sort it if I need it. They didn't say anything about sorting. Next. I don't need to change the width of the column. That's all good. Next. And I'm leaving my label the same. Now, when I use the lookup wizard and I connect it to another table, then it actually says the table must be saved before relationships can be created. And then I say yes. One or more field size has been changed to a shorter size. That's fine. I'm always going to say yes to these error messages. Right, so to check if it actually works, I can go to my datasheet view, and here by province, it's not this arrow that I'm clicking, guys, because this one just shows what's been captured in this table so far. This at the field, that's the arrow that I check whether it actually works. Okay, so, and then on the lookup tab, you'll see it shows combo box, table query, and it actually has this whole command, a select command to select the provinces, the province field from the province table. Yeah, it's a whole complicated thing. As you can hear, I'm not an IT teacher. Okay, next question. 513, change a property of the origin field so that a user must always enter a value in this field when adding a record. Do you guys know what that is? Do you remember? We did it yesterday, I think, with the prelim. How do we ensure that someone must enter a value? Required, right? I can just double click this and then it changes to yes. Right. Next one. And it was just one mark, so it's fine. All right, 514 says the mouth long field gives the longitude coordinate of the river mouth. So like basically where the river probably opens or like spills out into a dam or something. Okay, for example, yes, well done. Okay, yes, you got required. Well done. Okay, for example, east 38 degrees, 9183, blah, blah, blah. And they give these options. All right, insert an input mask so that the data in this field will be entered as follows. So we're doing another input mask. Right, one compulsory capital letter. Two instructions in one sentence, hey? Capital letter, compulsory. So I'm not even going to show the place anymore to do this. Now we've got to check, I need to go to the right field. Let's just double check again. Mouth long. Okay. Mouth long, yes. Input mask, so it has to be greater than L, one compulsory capital letter, followed by two compulsory digits. So it will be 00, right? Because that's the code for digits. Then the degree symbol. Oh my word, how am I going to do that? Let's worry about that just now. And that then at least one digit, but possibly 4 digits. Oh my goodness, these people aren't very creative, hey? They do the same questions the whole time. At least 1 digit, but possibly 4 digits. I must just tell you, I think it might be because these are all kind of backup papers or not like the official November papers that it's so much repetition. It might not be that much repetition if it's just the November paper each year. So please go and check Mr. Long's videos of the last 2 years. I think I did the one from 3 years ago. Just go watch the access video. All right, at least 1 digit, so that's a 0. Possibly 4 digits means 3 more 9s, right? Okay, so I'm going to have to put in a degree symbol here. I'm just going to put a question mark for now because I don't know what to put there. 0, 9, 9, 9. Okay, because the 0 is the single compulsory digits and the 3 optional. At least 1, but 4 digits, but possibly 4 digits. All right. Now there's a hint. The degree symbol is a word processing symbol. Font, Arial character, character code 00B0. Okay, let's go and put that in. So I'm just going to switch off my magnifier for a second and open Word. And I'm just opening a blank document. I can just as well open it again. All right, then I'm going to insert symbol. Oh, there the degree actually is already. Do you see? Degree symbol, and it actually says degree symbol there. So now I need to select it. Can I just quickly show you guys this? This magnification is actually fantastic for this. So if I select in Word, it automatically selects the paragraph sign with it. You have to like carefully, you select it and then you need to pull your mouse back while you still have the button pressed in. Then that's the way that you only select that single one. The other option is to start from the back and then select it to the front. But even that didn't allow me. So then I have to go back again, no, it's not working. So I'm going to have to do it from the front without that. But I think the paragraph character might not have actually caused the problem because of the input mask, but I don't want to take chances. So now I'm going to cut this, right click, cut, and I'm going to go paste this. Here where I don't know what to put. I put the backslash to put a literal character, hey? So I'm first going to put my backslash, and then I'm going to put the degree symbol that I just pasted. I just pressed. I can right click and paste as well. Okay, is that everything now? Let's double check. So 1 compulsory capital letter, 2 compulsory digits, the degree symbol, 1 digit, but possibly 4 digits. Fantastic. Okay, let me quickly see if I can do this. There you go. Do you see that? If I press, there's a button on the keyboard called insert. And if I press the insert button, then the cursor changes to like a full letter size. Because what the insert mode does is it types over the letters. It like basically switches between over type mode and just typing by inserting text in between. So if you ever get that little cursor, it happens in Excel, it happens in Access, and it especially happens in Notepad++. Then you accidentally pressed the insert button, and it's usually close to the backspace or the delete. Okay, please repeat the degree part. The degree part, they told us here in the paper that the degree symbol is a word processing symbol, and we can basically go get it by symbols, font, Arial, character code. So I could have gone to symbols and gone to choose more symbols and then go choose Arial over here and then come on, there you go, and then typed in the character code here, but you'll see it's already actually selected that because that's the default, the first one. Oh, you only want to know, someone wants to know why the slash is required. I'll explain to you now. So it's already selected the degree symbol, and then I say insert, close. And now I can actually just copy it. All right. The reason I used the slash as well was because of the input mask sheet. If I check here, you'll see at the bottom here, it says a backslash causes the character that follows to be displayed as the literal character. So with a degree mark, I'm actually relatively safe that it would have probably put a backslash in for me, but let's say, for example, I wanted it to be a literal C or an and sign or a hashtag, because those are codes in the input mask sheet. So the only way for you to tell Access, should it treat it as if it's a code or should it treat it and literally insert that character, is by putting the backslash in. If you have a lot to put in or more than one digit, then you can use the double quotation marks, because the characters enclosed in double quotation marks will be displayed literally. So you could use either one of those. All right. I'm just going to close Word. Don't save. And I think that's, no, there's probably still another question. Let me just go back to the questions. Sure, guys. This magnification actually does make it quite a bit more difficult. I hope it is worth it for you guys. For the people that were annoying and, no, wrong paper. And for me trying to figure out where I am. 5.1.5, add a default value of yes to the has a dam field. Okay, so default for all rivers is they have a dam. So I'm going to go back to rivers, has a dam. I just click in the right field and I go down to the bottom and I choose default value. Instead of no, I just make it yes. Okay. Save. I can save at the top there, or I can save here. Right click, save. Okay, there's no difference whether you use the backslash or the double quotations. The only difference is if you use the backslash, it only makes one next character appear literally. So it's perfect for this. But if you use the double quotation marks, everything inside the double quotation marks will be displayed literally. So yesterday we did the paper from the prelim for Gauteng, and that had like this whole part that you had to put in at the end at RWC for Rugby World Cup, RWC 2023. So it was this whole thing at RWC 2023. That whole thing had to be at the end. So then we used double quotation marks because it was so much, because it was such a long content. Okay, appreciation for the magnifier. All right, we have to continue. All right, guys, I think that was the last. No, one more. 516. Change the data type of the length field to a more suitable data type. Let's do that first. Length, data type. Let's just quickly go check. It does say here the length of the river, so I'm assuming it has to be some kind of numerical thing. Let's see if they have an example. Length, it just says 0, but I'm assuming it has to be like some kind of number. So surely the length of a river should be a number. Okay, then they said change the data type of the length field to a more suitable data type and move the length field to appear between the river name and the province fields. So to move a field, I click it once with my black arrow and I move it with my white arrow between province and river name. Do you see it actually shows me that line and the insert part? But if I don't release my mouse button between the first click and the dragging, it doesn't actually work. Okay, so please, you have to release your mouse button before you drag, before you click again to drag. All right, now you guys can shoot with the table questions. Anything we haven't done, shoot. I'm going to start in the meantime to discuss one or two things. Let's just double check the memo quickly. There's one or two things that I can think of that I haven't covered, but then I want to hear any other questions that you have. All right, so field, river name, field size, province, we did the table type, row source table, table province. So they actually didn't require you to use the lookup wizard. You could have done it manually and just chosen table query and then chosen the province table. You probably want me to show you that, so let's do that. I can't do it now because I've already set it to have that relationship, so I can't undo that. But if I would redo it, let's say province 2, and it was short text, I could then go to lookup, display control. I can change this to a combo box, leave it at table query, and then my row source, I need to use this drop down and choose the right source, table provinces. So they allowed that as well. Because it was the first field, it does actually work correctly. All right, let's delete that. Okay, and let's see anything else on the memo. Right field required origin, yes. Input mask here. They actually didn't, oh, they do show here, backslash or in double quotation marks, yes. Default value, yes. Length, number, length appears between river name and province field. All right, so I did those 3 tables correctly. Let's quickly just show you 1 or 2 things in the table. If you have any other questions regarding tables specifically, please shoot now and tell me. All right, so we have discussed primary keys yesterday, but I just want to tell you one more cool thing. So indexed, do you see this one here? When you change when you actually apply a primary key to a table, then this indexed changes to yes. So I know there was a past paper a few years ago where they actually had a very similar data set to these rivers, and they asked you to choose a suitable primary key. And based on these ones, people were very unsure, like a river name, length, province, no. The only thing that was really unique to each river was actually the longitude and latitudes, the coordinates, because that's unique for each one and it has to be filled in. So that's the one that we could have used for a primary key if this paper did ask for it. And you'll see the moment I changed it to primary key, it actually changed indexed to yes, and there may not be any duplicates. But if you were working with a database where you have a second field where you don't want to have any duplicates, you can change indexed. It has 3 different options. Let's go to the drop down. The 3 different options are no, yes, that duplicates are okay, and yes, no duplicates. So if it's indexed, it's a very complicated thing to explain what that is, but basically it speeds up searching and sorting, like you'll see in the description on the side here. You don't have to worry about what that does, but this is where you can set that it also doesn't take duplicates, or that it may be duplicated. Okay, that's indexed. Format we did yesterday. Input mask we did now. Caption is an interesting one. Caption, if you actually type in something here. So let's say this mouth lat, like nobody knows what that means. I'm going to change that field name to just latitude. Now, let's go save and yes, and let's switch to this data sheet view. Now you'll see the name actually shows latitude, but if I use the field in queries or in a report or anything, I still use the original field name. So the caption is actually the name that appears at the top should I want a different name. Default value we did now, validation rule, text we did, required we did. The rest of these things I haven't actually seen. Text align, they've asked now and then that you need to, but that's like literally formatting. Okay. One other thing they have asked in the past, in the data sheet view, they can ask you like very limited formatting, but that's usually done here where you like set the alternative row colors, or you can open this up and then you can choose, should the grid line show, shouldn't it show, what background color must there be, alternate background color, grid line color, all funny things. Okay, but you literally just read what it says and you do that. Okay, Mia, what's the difference between a combo box and a list box? Good question. Let's leave this at, I think this one is a combo box. I'm going to leave this one at a combo box. And in one of the other databases, it was set to a list box. So I'm going to show you the difference in a form. So let's quickly create a form from this. Save. And let's just close it. It's never good to have a table or a query open in, it's not possible actually to have it open in design view and then create another object based on that. So I'm going to just quickly do a form. I'm not doing the form design now. I'm just doing a lazy quickly form just to show you. If I just choose form for everything, a drop down or a combo box, do you see province just has this little list here and it just has that drop down. If I switch to form view, there, it just has a drop down. So that's a combo box. Okay. A list box, let's just close this and delete it. No. Right. A list box looks like this. I think it was on this one. Yes. And they As far as I remember, they said this was a list box. Let's quickly see. Yes, list box. You see here, it says list box, display control. So let's make a form of that, create a form. Sure, I'm trying to move the mouse as smooth as I can, but it's difficult. So do you see the list box actually lists all the different items? It doesn't give you that drop-down control. It lists all the items. But in a table data sheet view, you can't see the difference. Everyone else happy? Do we have no more questions in tables? Everyone pleased? Okay, that took a whole hour just to do tables. Let's see what we can still do tonight. I actually really wanted to do like Excel or Word as well, and not just do tonight and tomorrow on Access, but I'll ask at the end of the stream. We can maybe do like a little bit extra time, but I can't go like to 8 o'clock or something crazy. I don't think you guys could either. So next part, let's do the queries. Okay, the form first. Happy? All right, fantastic. Thank you. Right, let's do November backup first. Let me just check which one am I on here. Activities. Okay. Modify the form called Form 5.2 based on the table tours table in design view as follows. So let's quickly open that one. Activities, table tours. I just want to see in data sheet view what's going on here. A tour name, location, type, activity type, 1, 2, group size, amount, and then there's like meals and other things. Oh, and disability friendly. All right. How long is the stream still going to be? It's scheduled till 6, but I can maybe do like a little bit longer and maybe complete one more object. Let's see how we're doing, and then we'll see. Okay. All right. I'm going to close this one, and then let's do the form. They said we've got to edit this in design view. All right, this is what the form looks like. And let's see the question. First question, add your examination number to the form header in a new label. Now, even if they didn't say in a new label, you have to use a label for it. And in the form question in Access, it actually counts a mark. And believe it or not, they check that you put in the correct exam number. So we're going to do that in the form header. This is the form header section. A label is this one that says AA. You'll see if I hover over it, it actually says label. And I can just go and click it somewhere, and then I type in my number, whatever that is. Okay? I'm just typing gibberish. Right. Edit the image found in the form header. Yes, the live stream is automatically uploaded, dear. It's actually, like if you go on the channel, there's like a past. Maybe I should just put it on the home page of the thing. But if you use the same link again, it actually goes back to the video where it was. But if you look on the channel, I'll try to put it on the home page if I remember. Let me just make a note. Home page streams. There's like a new tab that says live streams for any channel. Okay, next thing. Edit the image found in the form header to fully fit into the image frame. Let's show you what that means. So at the moment, you'll see the image is there and the frame is bigger than the image. So we need to edit this so that the image fully fits into the image frame. So I'm going to right click and choose properties. And it's going to open this next here at the side. Now the property sheet format. Now I've got to choose here. It's usually the size mode. So you see at the moment the size mode is set to zoom. If I change that, let's go see the different options. There's clip, stretch, and zoom. So clip is still not the full size. Do you see? But stretch is the full size. Fantastic. So that's what it should be. Right. Next. Set the form header to be visible in form view. What? Isn't it? Let's see. If I actually go to form view, the header is gone. Do you see? Okay, let's go see where we can find that. Design view. So this form header, let's right click. No, here's where we can like activate and deactivate certain sections like a form header or a footer. But I now want this whole section to be visible. So what I'm going to do is it's very important when you're using this property sheet to like click on the right object when you're looking for a property. So I can't be clicked inside the form header or like be clicked on a label or something when I'm looking for this. I need to ensure that I've clicked or selected the form header. And then I can go to format here. Let's see, format can grow, display, visible. Do you see visible? No. There you go. So I can change that to yes. Okay, so it's usually like one of the first ones and it's quite an obvious name. All right. Next, link the combo box for the activity type 1 field to the options in the table activities table. Right, so we've got activity type 1. It is a combo box. Let's just go see what this does. So there's an activity type 1. It says boat cruise drop down. Okay, so at the moment the drop down doesn't work. We need to link this to the table activities table. Let's just check. Okay, there's only one column. That makes it easy. Let's close that. Right, let's go. Design view. So to change what is displayed in the drop down, I'm editing the data of the field, right? So I'm going to my property sheet, data, and I'm actually going to work here with control source says basically to which field is it linked. Then I've got to choose row source and row source type. So row source type is the first one I've got to choose. Remember, value list is the one where you type in the options yourself, like we did in the table now. So in this instance, we want the type to be a table or a query type. Now, by row source, I can select which table or query. I want it to link to table activities. Okay, so it has to still have that control source. It's linked to the right field. It's using the right source. Let's go check if it works in form view, and then you'll see here. It does. Okay, wonderful. Let's see. I just want to see. My strong point is Word, Excel, and HTML. The entire year I've been getting 70 to 80 because I don't understand Access. How can I study for Access to get in the 80 margin? You can do like 5 past papers and watch 5 past papers videos so that you definitely understand it. We can see how far we get today, and then I'll see, like, I don't know if I'll take a vote on my channel or something and see who wants what. Repeat calculated recommended. The calculated field in tables, you probably mean, hey? We did one, and the other past papers, if you watch the videos from Mr. Long, Cat and IT, from last year's November paper and the year before that, I'm sure there's another calculated field in there. So perhaps give that a try and just have a look. And because my time is a bit limited now because we want to get through a bit of some content. Okay, so let's see. I think that's it. Yes, we're done with this one. Save and close. I'm not going to check the memo now. I'm sure I've done this correctly. Save and close. Let's quickly check the next paper, and the next one is, no, this is the memo. The next one is June 2021, and we're going to do this one's, let's just check, it's the 5 details database. Okay, 5 details, just closing that. And we're using 5.2. Okay, now before we do 5.2, do you see here at the top, it says note, table data stores information about travelers to the various islands. Let's quickly check that. Table data. Okay, travelers to islands. Name, surname, date of birth, cell number, email address, destination, island, leisure activity, cost, number, something. Right, we'll check now. Okay, number of people, total leisure cost. Okay, so let's see. No, I don't want to use this. Close. Okay, now I've got to edit the form. So open, This is what it looks like. And let's see the question. It says, open the form called Form 5.2 based on the table data table in Design View. Modify the form to display as shown in the example below. All right, they have an example. And remember what I told you yesterday? If there's a screenshot, check for the notes underneath the screenshot. Right. Okay. Note, place a rectangle control as a border around the 4 fields as shown above. Okay, so you'll see here, leisure activity cost, I think there's like a border. Do you see that one? Okay, so rectangle control as a border around the 4 fields above. So at the moment it doesn't have that. So let's do that. We go to Design View. Design View always goes together with Design tab. Right. The rectangle tool, let's just find it. I think it's this one. Rectangle. There you go. And then we can just click and drag it. Right. If we had to format that, but we don't in this instance, then we can use format over here and shape, outline, and fill over there. Right. But this is sufficient based on the screenshot. All right. I'll do the calculated field when I'm done with this one. Okay. To calculate age. Next one. Insert the current date in the footer of the form in the same format as shown above. Aha. So it's just the day, the month shortened, and the year also in 2 digits with little, what do you call it? No, commas. No, not commas. Koppeltekens in between. Let's try that. Current date. So, to insert the current date, I can type it myself as a, using the form design and actually using a text box if I know the formula, but I can actually use date and time over here. Do you see date, header and footer, date and time? Choose it, and I can say I want the date. Here I can choose the right format. I don't need the time. It doesn't give me an option if I want it in the header or the footer. Then I say okay. It always automatically puts it in the header, and I then need to drag it down to the footer. Just a life hack, you cannot drag fields between sections using the gray box. You can only drag fields between sections using the orange borders. Okay, so then I'm just going to drag it down, and I do have a form footer section. Then I'm just going to pop it there. Okay, right, like that. Okay, I think they said it was in the form footer. Yes, in the footer of the form. Yes. Okay, last one. Insert a button control insert a button control to go to the next record when the button is clicked. Accept the default arrow on the button. All right, let's have a look. So, a button control needs to be here. Did you see that on the screenshot? It's like this little thingy here. So let's see. This one is a button. If I hover over it, yes. If I click it, I have this command button wizard pop up. Okay. So let's see. Let's say you've never seen this before, because this is not part of the curriculum. This is like a curveball question. So how it works in the DBE papers is they're allowed to ask something like between 5 and 10% new content in a paper, but then that content always needs to be asked so like explicitly worded that it's like literally called exactly that in the menus, that you can actually search it and just read and follow the instructions and then do it. Basically like testing your ability to problem solve and your ability to use new features in programs almost. Okay, so command button wizard. What action do we want to happen when the button is pressed? Different categories are available for each different actions are available for each category. So here are the actions. Go to next record. There it is. Do you see record navigations? So like form operations has things like close the form and print the form and things like that. So go to next record. Now I can say next, that's what I want. Do you want a text or a picture? I want a picture, and I want the default picture because they say to use the default picture. So this is the one I must use. I can also choose a different picture and browse and choose a different picture there. Now I can say next. What do you want to name the button? They didn't give us a name. It's just good to do it next and call it finish. Right, and now I've got a little button there. Let's see if it works. If I go to my form view, I should be able to click it and then it moves to the next record. Fantastic. Okay, let's see how many things we did and how many marks. So it's 5 marks. What have we done? We put a rectangle control in. Maybe they could give us a mark for around the right content, but I'm not sure. The current date we've put in the footer. That could be 2 marks. A button control that goes to the next record. Maybe 2 marks. Gosh, I would actually just like carefully check if there's anything that I've missed. I'm just gonna go like this and check if I see anything. Okay, nothing jumps out at me that looks different. Let's quickly double check the memo. There you go. Okay, the rectangular control was 1 mark. The command button was 1 mark. The next record was 1 mark. The date in medium format was 1 mark. And the date in the form footer was 1 mark. All right, so 5 marks. Fantastic. Okay. Level, I promised you I'll do the calculated field using the date of birth to calculate age. I'll do that after I do the last form one. Okay, I'll do it right at the end of the stream. Let's see. So the last paper, we've got the 5 Rivers database. Let me just quickly check here. Oh, come on. Right. 5 Rivers database, November 2021. And we are doing the form question. Open the form 5.2 form based on the table 5.2 table in design view and do the following. Add your examination number to the form header. Right? Let's not do that again. You know how to do that. I showed you in a label last time. Let's do change the background color of the detail section of the form to exactly match the background color of the form header. That's an interesting one. Let's go do that. I'm in activities, I think. Yeah, no, that's the wrong one. Is it? Oh, it's the Rivers one. Okay, fantastic. So, design view. I'm not going to put in the header, the exam number in the header. You do that with a label. Okay. Now they said, I must change the background color. Change the background color of the detail section of the form. That's this section, okay, over here. To exactly match the background color of the form header. I could probably try if Format Painter works. There is a Format Painter here, but no, I don't think it's going to work on a whole section. Nah. All right, so I've got to do right-click, fill back color. Sure, they don't actually show me here which one it was. So, you can go find it in properties, but that's like a massive mission. So I would probably, let me just quickly switch off my magnifier for a second. If I choose the full back color and no, I don't want to do that. I'm just pressing Control Z to see does the color change. Okay, that's going to be the easiest. Oh, here it is. I'm being a chop. Do you see there's a little button there? It also doesn't show which one is selected. Yeah. Let's go format. Back color. There it is. Put my magnifier back on. Okay. So I've clicked form header. I tried to find it here, but it also doesn't show which one is selected. It is one of these. I think it's this one. It doesn't look like it changed the color. But I did undo to just like redo it to be at the space that it was, and I went to the properties. Now on the properties format, there's a back color option here. So I'm just going to select this whole back color. It's possible that it was like some custom one, hey, that it wasn't one of those in the selection. So then I'm just doing detail, and I'm going to the same place in the property sheet, and I'm changing the back color there. Paste that. Okay, enter, and there we have exactly the same color. Sure, that's quite a difficult question. Now, insert a calculation. at the bottom of the detail section to determine 10% of the average discharge field, which is used for irrigation. Okay, 10% of the average discharge, which is used for irrigation. Let's go check. I just want to see here what data I'm working with. Sorry. Form view. Let's just see. So rank, river, length, average discharge. Okay, I'm assuming this is like how much it loses or something. I don't know anything about these things. Outflow, country of origin, number of countries. Okay, so I've got to put in a calculation at the bottom that measures 10% of this average discharge. Ne? Insert a calculation at the bottom of the detail section to determine 10% of the average discharge, which is used for irrigation. Okay, that can't be by chance, the fact that they actually said which is used for irrigation. So I'm not going to put it in the form footer, I'm putting it here at the bottom of the detail section. If I want to put in a calculation, I'm going to use a text box. Let's pop the text box here, and I'm going to do the calculation here. Let me just say, because they said which is going to be used for irrigation, I'm definitely going to call this irrigation. I'm sure it has something to do with that. Why would they tell me that detail otherwise? There's no purpose in it. Okay, so I need to use this name, average discharge. If you want to copy it, please, now you've got to check. You can't copy the whole field. I can't press copy while I'm selected like this. I have to select the text, then I need to copy. And you'll see I can't even right click. It doesn't let me right click. So then I can use Control C. And then I can go to my unbound. I press equals to start my calculation. I want to say average times 10 over 100. Or you could have said times 0.1. You cannot say times 10% like you can in Excel. Okay, so that's my calculation. Let's see. Fantastic. Irrigation. There you go. Let's see. I want to see the memo now. Let me just see if there's another question. Yes. Add a suitable label to the calculation. See, so it has got to do something with irrigation. Let's see the memo. Okay. Detail, exam number added, color, exact match, calculation. Yes. Suitable label. Example 10% outflow. All right. I wonder if I don't know if, I suppose that might not have been detailed enough. I suppose, we should rather have said something like 10% outflow. I just want to see the question again to see why they say that's the example. Insert a calculation at the bottom of the details section to determine 10% of the average discharge, which is used for irrigation. Sure. I'm sure they must have accepted irrigation, hey? Yeah. There's no one I can check with now, but I'm sure they must have accepted that. Okay, let me quickly get some questions based on forms. Fencer, good day. This question is regarding the input mask. Okay, so we're back on tables. So, okay, I've got two questions on tables now. Calculated field and an input mask. Any other questions on tables? You can pop it in there. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'll carry on for another 20 minutes or so, and I'll just do one or two queries. I think I'll do one paper and do the queries, and then maybe that quickly helps you a bit. All right, for whoever wants to stay on. Okay, this question is regarding the input mask. How do you make sure that, e.g., this will always be available in the field without you having to retype it? Okay, so I'm assuming there was like one paper where they did that. I think you mean something like this. Let's go do that. Okay, so there was one past paper when they actually provided you with that character. And you basically had to type around it. I think that's what you mean. Okay. So you just have to type at the back and at the front of it. Just don't wipe it out. That's what I'm thinking. Or cut it and paste it somewhere else if you want to keep it. Right. Will Alive be uploaded for Excel formulas as well? CT, that depends on whether the need is greater for Excel or for me to do more Access tomorrow. But I actually, for my own learners' sake, I want to do some Excel tomorrow because they said they want that to do a bit more. What other types of calculations can you expect, as I'm bad at math? All right, I'm going to show you one or two in queries now when we're going to do that. Validation rules based on a field size. Field size is also, like if this is the field size, 25. Okay. So instead of providing the field size there, I could probably have said validation rule is the length of this field name, mouth long must be equal to or less than or equal to 25. I'm guessing, like I'm completely testing this now. No, but it mustn't be quotation marks. It has to be square brackets, because the square brackets defines a field name, right? I'm assuming we could do that. Let's test something like, let's make it, I don't know if I can make it 5 now. I'm going to leave the field size at like 100, and I'm going to make the validation rule 5, just to test. Okay, let's see. Datasheet view. Yes, we want to save it. Yes, we have issues. Don't worry, it violates the setting. I don't care. Okay, so test here. 1, 2, no, it's not letting me type numbers. Okay, now I need numbers. But it gives me the error here. Yeah. So I think these two are going to completely like counteract each other now. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be 5 characters. It lets me carry on. Okay, so yes, you can do a validation rule based on the field size or instead of the field size. You learn new things every day. Forms, what other type of calculations? Okay, so Kristen, you specifically wanted calculations on forms. Guys, if you haven't used this, then you like seriously should. Okay? I can't do Friday as well, hey? Friday, I've got to upload all the timestamps on all the live streams. There are really enough resources for you on other sites. So let me quickly just find that site that I want to show you on my other screen. And then I'll show you where you can go find very cool resources for these things. This one. There you go. Okay. I have a shortened URL for it, but I can't remember what it is. Bit.ly. Oh, is it this? Let me test. Yes, it is. Okay. So I'll pop the shortened URL in the chat. 12cat RTT. Give me 1 second. HTTP bit.ly/cat. No. 12cat RTT. This site has a lot of cool stuff for you guys. Okay. It shows you here the recommended YouTube channels. It has the exam guidelines. It has specific help with theory and practical. On the theory page, it shows you this is the critical part that you need help with. Like these kind of things are like non-negotiable. You have to know this. And then there are more recommended resources like past papers and study guides and things like that. And there's also additional help with revision if you wanted to use some of those. Practical, you'll see also there's critical resources at the top here. There's Mr. Long's guide for CAT. This is a fantastic video, a fantastic thing. Let's see. Let's pop that whole, please go download that like now. There's actually also a short link for it. I just don't know what it is. But anyway, go get that immediately, because this one shows you, okay, which student are you? Do you need help with databases. Do you need help with this? Do you need help with that? And then he has like a bunch of past papers here by himself and by me, by the two of us. And then there's links to all the past papers. And do you see how many other past papers there are? And why I'm saying you don't actually need me to do a live stream, because there are so many of them. And then over here, he has his videos for specific content. Like if you're struggling with section breaks in Word, there's like a specific video just for that. And then spreadsheets, specific videos for each thing that you might possibly struggle with. And the same for databases. He is fantastic with databases. So I can really recommend him. He explains it so clearly and succinctly. So please go and have a look at this. He's really good. Okay. Everyone have that. Okay, you love that. Fantastic. I'm so glad. What did I want to do? I wanted to still show you one or two things. Let's see. You said what other type of calculations. So Kirsten, one of the stuff, which I didn't show you now, let's just open my tab again. On that site, in the practical side, you'll see there's critical resources, and then at the bottom here, I have study guides and summaries, past national papers, and then this thing, practical exercise booklets or practical exercise books. These are fantastic, because here, if you look at the grade 12 exercises, you can open this up and then literally just go and do forms. You can go check, okay, this is, let's go to Access. If you download this PDF, you can actually use the hyperlinks. You go 45, there's the Access contents, and there's advanced forms. Then you can literally just go and have a look on page 51. Let's see page 51, what other calculations do they ask commonly? Then we can see, okay, there's just like a drop-down list thing. That's not a calculation. That's not a calculation. That's not a calculation. That's the one I just showed you. That's not a calculation. That's not a calculation. Oh my goodness, I don't have a single example of a calculation even. So yeah, calculations in forms aren't that common, but it's basically the type of calculations that you get in Access in general, like a minus or a calculation or subtraction, calculation, division, that kind of basic stuff. The stuff that the people like us hate because you don't like maths. I'm also like that. Okay, so I had a request for input masks, I explained, and then the calculated field using the date of birth to do age. Okay, so I'm going to say yes there, and let's see if I have something where I have people's date of birth. It's probably in one of these. Let's just see. Yeah, it'll be in this one. So let's say yes. Okay, table data. Here I have the date of birth. So let's say we need to calculate this person's date of birth, or like their age in years. All right. So I'm going to put on my magnifier, and let's go. I'm going to put in a new field, a calculated field, and say age. Oh, what am I typing? Age. There you go. And I immediately choose calculated. Okay. And the expression builder pops up. So first thing I need to do is I need to find out how old they are in days. And in days, I need to determine today's date. Today's date, in Excel, the function is called today. In Access, the function is called date. Okay, date minus their date of birth. Do you see when I started typing that, it actually shows me date of birth, and it has this little icon of a field. That with a column that's like blue is the icon of a field. It shows me that is a field. So I'm going to use date of birth. That's a field. Now I know this one actually didn't bring up that function fx thing, but it's because there are so many like variations of date and day and whatever that it's just not working. If you really wanted to, you can go and figure out over here which functions are allowed, but it's really not necessary. Okay, Let's say okay, and we just see what we're getting now. Okay, so currently my expression is today's date minus their date of birth. And then save, yes. Cannot be used. Oh, I forgot. Okay, so a calculated field in a table can't use today's date. Let's go do it in a query. Yeah, can't use today's date. So, delete rows. Let's go do it in a query. It might actually be one of the questions in a query anyway. I've seen that before. I had to do it somewhere and I can't remember. Okay, I just want to see quickly which one's queries I'm going to do. This is a good one. No, this one doesn't have a calculation. Okay, this one has an age calculation. 60 years and older. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 of these. And I want to do 1 of this one, because this is the way that it's more commonly asked. Okay, so this is, which database am I working with here? Activities. Let's see if I still have activities open. There you go. Right, and query 5.3. So at the moment I have tour type and activity type 1 and location. Let's see what they asked. They asked, open query 5.3, query based on the table tours table in design view. Modify the query to display the number of type 1 activities per tour type per location in alphabetical order. Ensure that the location field is displayed first. Okay, let's go have a look at this and see if this makes sense. So here I've got tour types, I've got activity type 1, and I've got location. Right. So they said they want the number of type 1 activities per tour type and per location. So location needs to be first. Let's just go do that. So I'm just going to pull this a bit higher. To move the field, 2 clicks as well. First click, select my field. Second click, move my field. Right, location is now first, and we set it alphabetically. Now, they want the number of activities per tour type, per location. So, to do that, I need to count it, but I can't put in a new calculated field for that. To do that, I need to change it so that I can actually group the tour type and the location together. That I can do by switching on totals here on my ribbon. So I'm in my design view on my ribbon at the top. Totals. You'll see it opened up an extra row at the bottom called the total row. So because they said per tour type and per location, that means those are the 2 ones that we're grouping. Okay? And the activity type 1, they said we need to count. They want the number of. We're counting that, right? So we choose count. Okay, now I want you to notice how the names of the fields changes. Count, activity type 1, group by tour type, group by location. Let's see. Location, the field name has stayed the same. Tour type, day trip, guided. Count of activity 1. Do you see the name has changed based on what I did? Okay. And now it just says there are 3 types of day trips in the Chobe National Park. There's just 1 guided tour in that national park. Okay, that makes sense. Fantastic. Close that one. Yes, and I'm going to close this database and I'm just going to do these ones. Say no, and let's just do... So you see this one, I can actually see clearly what they want, because this one they actually gave us a screenshot, which they're not tending to do most of the time anymore. So query 5.3, based on the table data table, open the query in design view and change the query to display as following. Because it says sum of leisure cost, I know I need to switch on that grouping and I need to just change leisure cost to sum. That's all I need to do. And then it'll show it like this. Okay. But let's do the next query, where we're doing something different. Right, 5.4. Let's just open the right database. I'm working on, which one am I working on here? 5 details. Yes, this is the right one. And I'm working query 5.4. So there isn't one. I need to create one. All right. So they say, query 5.4. Create a query called query 5.4 based on the table data table. So this is the one I'm going to use. Let's just open it up and see name, surname, date of birth, cell number, email address. Okay, these are like the people. Leisure activity, cost, number of people, and total leisure cost. Okay, close. But I've got my table data here. This is the one I'm going to use. Create, and I always prefer using Magic if it's available. So the wizard is my friend. Query wizard. Always use the simple query wizard for CAT. Okay. Now let's see which fields they say we need to use. They say display only the name, surname, date of birth, and destination island fields. Okay, name, surname, date of birth, and destination island. Name, I'm double clicking, surname, date of birth, and destination island. So as I double click, it actually pops it over to the other selected fields part. Next, query. They said it should be called QRY5_4. Finish. It doesn't matter if you choose, you want to view it in which view. Okay, so we've got name, surname, date of birth, destination island here. Let's see. Include only those travelers going to Bora Bora Island or Cyprus for a fishing holiday. Name, surname, date of birth, destination island. Okay, I can do Bora Bora Island here, and I can do Cyprus. I'm assuming there must be like Cyprus here somewhere. There's Cyprus. But I can't do fishing holiday here. So that means I need another field, which I didn't realize. So let me open table data again and just check which one. Leisure activity. So I'm going to have to include leisure activity. So let's close that and go and edit this. Design view. And now you'll see I have my 4 fields at the bottom here. And I can include another field either by double clicking it at the top over here, or I can just choose my down arrow at the bottom and go and choose leisure activity. That's where I can choose that it must be fishing. Let's see, run, yes. Okay, so let's read the question again. Only those travelers going to Bora Bora Island or Cyprus for a fishing holiday. So I'm assuming for both of them it's for a fishing holiday. So I'm going to copy this one because this is probably the one that's going to be the longest to type. Bora Bora. That's under destination island. You've got to be sure. You can't accidentally put it under name or surname. So it's Bora Bora or Cyprus. Okay. The moment I press tab or I press enter, it actually automatically puts the double quotation marks for me. I prefer doing it that way so that I never put quotation marks around something I'm not supposed to put quotation marks around, such as yes or no if I'm using a yes or no field. Then they said it should be a fishing holiday. Now I saw already that it said fishing. You see? So let's type it there. Fishing. Fantastic. Now, because they specifically said display only the name, surname, date of birth, and destination island fields, I'm going to have to, now that I've seen that the leisure activity worked, I'm going to have to not show this field. So I'm going to go back to view and untick this button. This checkbox has got to do with whether it shows in the final data sheet view or not. So I've unticked it. The last question says, or the last part says, display the surname field in alphabetical order. So surname, sort, do you see there? So sort, alphabetical would be ascending, I'm assuming. Okay, save, and we can double check it, data sheet view. Yes, it's in alphabetical order. Now the leisure thing doesn't show anymore. It's only Cyprus or Bora Bora, and close. Okay. Next thing, last query that we're going to check, and then we're looking at calculations there, and then I hope that helps a bit at least. That's, I think, probably the majority of the marks for Access. Reports, go and check the past papers, check Mr. Long's videos. Then tomorrow I'll do Excel, I think. Open the query 5.5 query based on the table data table in design view. And then we need to insert a calculated field. Let's just go open it first. I like to first check, but sometimes it doesn't open if you just double click, hey? Then you do need to specifically open it in design view by pressing right click. Okay, name, surname, date of birth, total leisure something. Now they said, insert a calculated field called 60 and older to display only the travelers who are 60 years and older. Okay. Now, in Access, we don't teach you how to do an if and then say if they are not 60 years or older, or if they are 60 years and older, they must show, but the others mustn't show. The only way we do that is actually by putting in criteria. Really? Okay? So it's not an if, don't worry. All we need to do is we need to calculate the age, and then we need to choose, then we need to apply criteria to extract only those who are 60 years and older. 60 years and older, only the travelers who are 60 years and older. Let's go do that. So, step 1, you see date of birth. Okay. Let's go insert a new field. So I'm clicking in the next available field. I can, if I want, type all of it one shot and start my calculation. It's date minus date of birth. If you like good enough like that, all right. But I don't like doing it like that because I find that that's not realistically how most people do it, and you can't think of everything at once. So let's try it. So I'm going to use the builder at the top here. So remember what I said earlier, to use today's date, I'm going to say date, okay, minus the date of birth. I can start typing it, or I can actually double click it from here because it's already included in the query. By the way, you are also able to include any fields from the table even if they are not in the query. So, date of birth, date minus date of birth. Let's go see what we get there. Run. Okay, so it says expression 1, we need to change that name to 60 and older, and then we need to calculate the years. This is clearly days, the number of days that they are old. So, whenever you're doing conversions, think, what do I have and what do I want? I have days, I want years. So, how many days are in a year? 365. So, I'm going to divide by 365. So, let's go back. Let's change this EXPR1 to 60 and older. And let's use our builder, and we can carry on with our calculation over here. I'm just going to put round brackets around my subtraction so that it first gets that number and then only I do divide. Because otherwise, if I just put divide, then it's just going to divide the date of birth and not the result of the subtraction. So, date minus date of birth as one calculation, then divide by 365. Now I know it's actually 0.25, but they don't care if you put that in or not, so it's up to you. You can put it in, you don't have to put it in, they don't mind. Okay, that's the age, 60 and older. Let's say okay. So that's what it looks like at the moment, 60 and older. If you had made this bigger and typed it all in there, this is what it looks like. Okay, and run. Now we have like a very, very large number here. Okay, but it does seem to be working out their age. So I would definitely display this as a whole number, or not with that many decimals. I don't think they hinted at that at all, but I'm just going to open the property sheet and change the format to fixed so that I can choose 0 decimal places. If I don't change it to fixed, then changing the decimal places has no effect. Run. Okay, there I have my age. So with ages, let's just see what they say. Insert a calculated field called 60 and older to display only the travelers who are 60 and older. Okay, so there's nothing about it being completed years or anything complicated like that as they do in Excel. So now it just has to be 60 or older people. So now I'm just going to put in the criteria row, this row, you see here? I'm going to go put in criteria that says greater than or equal to 60. And let's run it again. There you go. Okay, so I don't think there was sorting or anything else, was it? It says, insert a calculated field to display only the travelers who are 60 years and older, 5 marks. Let's double check the memo that we didn't miss anything. We did this one. Yes, we did everything there. And this one, 60 and older, date or now, they accepted now, minus date of birth, divide by 365.25 or 365. And then the criteria is greater than or equal to 60. Okay, now, last thing, which I haven't told you, which I should have told you way earlier when there were way more people on the stream. So if you know of someone who signed off and are not still on, please tell them this. If you were working in a calculation and you messed up this calculation like big time, or you were busy with a validation rule in a table, or wherever in Access you were busy with something and you messed it up so badly that it didn't allow you to save. Only if it messed it up so badly that it didn't allow you to save. Then you can take a screenshot of your whole screen, take a screenshot of your full screen, use the print screen button, go and paste it in Word and save it as a picture. So let's do an example. I'm pressing the print screen button on my keyboard. I'm opening the Word, blank Word, and I press paste because I have 2 screens, it shows both screens. And I'm just going to right click on it and then I can say save as picture. And then I choose where do I save it. So then I go choose in the folder of my exam. So say I'm busy with this exam, this is my data, then I'm going to save it here. The name you give it is the name of the question which you struggled with. So let's say it was 5.1.5, then I would make it 5_1_5, because if you put full stops in, then it might just think that's like got to do with a file extension. So then you say attempt. We can do something like that. Okay. That's what you do if you struggle with anything in Access and it is not allowing you to save. Then you take a full screenshot and you save that file in your folder with the name of the file or the name of the question with which you struggled with. Okay, I hope that made sense. All right, guys. Any other pressing questions for databases? On the objects that we did, not on reports. I love reports. I can do reports for 1,000,000 years, but I really don't have time to do that now as well. Please, with that Mr. Long guide that I showed you, there is so much that you can actually use for revision, and just go and check a few reports. But I mean, check what counts the most marks in Access. Tables and queries. That by far counts the most marks. So if you can do those 2 at least, then you're safe. Any other last questions? I'm going to give it another minute or 2, and then I'm going to sign off for the evening. I think tomorrow I think tomorrow I might do like a recap session on Excel, not actually doing a specific past paper. I actually completely forgot about it, but one of my learners reminded me today that I did that for Access last term, and she said she found it really helpful. We basically covered everything that I did in that lesson. But I'm going to try to do something similar for Excel. Basically just run through the functions and like which ones do you use for what, how do you identify which function to use, what like words do you look for in the paper, and syntax and stuff like that. Okay, I'll try to get a data file where I can show the most examples, and I'll definitely show you a subtotal again. All right, so and conditional formatting that's done with a formula, because that's a common question that a lot of people struggle with a lot. Okay, I'm not seeing any new questions. Oh, wait, I haven't. Why is it? Okay, please do a recap on Excel. Okay. Subtotals in queries. Manasseh, that's what I just did that, hey? This one, the query 531 in the previous paper. Let's do it in this paper again. I'll show you quickly. So, this one, this is like this. It's not really subtotals. It's grouping, but I think that's what you mean. So if I want to group it like this, that it groups the destination islands and it sums the leisure cost, because at the moment what it looks like is it just shows all the destination islands and it shows the leisure cost. It doesn't group the destination islands. Plus we need to swap the two fields, hey? So let's go to design view, swap the fields, and to switch on grouping, I go to totals in my design view, switch it on. Now I have a total row. The destination island is the one that's grouped because the name is exactly the same. Destination island, destination island. The name of leisure cost was changed to sum of. So that's why I'm going to change this one to sum. And then it will sum the leisure costs. Let's see. See? Sum of leisure costs. There you go. Right. Everyone else happy? Okay. Can we use now? Manasseh, that was probably for the date, hey? Sorry, I don't know. I scrolled down somehow and I missed some of the comments. You can use now if it actually includes the time as well. It's not ideal. But if you can't remember which one to use, like if it's today or date, and you don't have time to figure it out, you're more than welcome to use now. Usually it's accepted. May we please do a question using the if function? Okay. I don't know if it was actually asked before in Access, in a final paper, but let's try it. I'm going to do one quickly here. I'll put in a new field in my, so I'll do a builder. And what I want to do is let me take the leisure activity out and I'll put a I'll select it. Okay, so there I have my leisure activity. So I'll put in an extra calculated field to determine whether the leisure activity is fishing or not. And if it is fishing, I'm going to put a tick mark. Okay, so let me show you. But I, again, actually don't need an if for that. But let's do that. Because actually I could have just said, is leisure fishing? Because then it will give me a true or false. But let's do it as an if. An if in Access uses a double I. It's not just one I. Do you see? I if. The syntax is exactly the same. You start with your comparison. Is... Now it doesn't show that one because I actually unshowed it. I don't know if the name, what was it? Leisure activity. I'm going to type it now. Leisure activity. Is that equal to fishing? Then the true part is yes. Otherwise the false part is no. Okay? I'm not putting double quotation marks on it because I actually want it to be a value of yes and no. Let's see if this works. Okay, I'm going to try it and say fishing, question mark, and let's see, run. Okay, it gives me a 0 and a -1. Fantastic, so it's working. Then I just need to change the format in the property sheet. Click on the field, change the format to yes or no. No. Why can I not do it there? General number. Why is it not showing? Just going to take my magnification off so that I can check properly. Am I missing it? No. Display control. No. Format. I'm going to save and close it quickly. And then let me go in again. It's basically like the result type. Ah, there you go. See, now it shows yes and no. Let me show you the... magnification again. So sometimes that happens. That's like a buggy thing in Access, that sometimes that if you click on a field, especially a calculated field, and you want to go change the properties, then it doesn't show you all the properties that you need. So then save the query, close the query, open the query again, and then it'll work. Or call your teacher. So there I can change it to yes or no. I don't know if that's going to change the display, but we can see. Let's try. Yay! Fishing, yes or no. And it worked. Okay, so there's an if. Any other questions? No? All good? I'm glad it helped. I did the if function. I did the recommendations. Okay. Sorry, I'm not going to do Word. There are so many past papers you can check. For Word, you'll be fine. And I did show you the calculations. Okay, I'm going to sign off then. I'm glad that it helped. I hope you guys have a lovely evening. And yeah, good luck with the preparation. I'll see you tomorrow night again, same time, same place, and I will load the stream, but it's probably just going to be like a recap of Excel. Okay. Bye guys. Have a lovely evening.